But Besant says the consensus as the U.S. met with China over the weekend was that we will reach a fuller trade agreement that, quote, neither side wants a decoupling.
Walk into a Louis Vuitton store today in Beverly Hills, Milan, or Tokyo, and you'll feel it before you even understand what's wrong. The shelves are shockingly bare. Tables that used to overflow with signature bags now feature one or two sad pieces, strategically placed, spaced far apart. It's like someone tried to stage a crime scene to look like nothing happened, except everything did. Mirrors are angled to double the illusion of inventory. Spotlights are aimed to distract the eye. Some locations are even dimming the overhead. Lighting, hoping you won't notice what's missing, but you can't miss it because there's almost nothing left to look at.
Okay, let's look at watches. There's no real improvement in performance, right? I mean, they're beautiful, but I mean, the performance difference between now and 10 years ago is not. The whole thing is fucking insane. It's insane. The whole thing is nuts.
And this isn't an exaggeration. Viral videos are surfacing by the day. Walkthroughs from shoppers in Los Angeles, New York, London, Paris. TikToks with captions like, "Where is the inventory?" and "LV is empty."
This is what he's announcing today. He has said that the reciprocal tariff, this is Scott Besant who announced it, the reciprocal tariff on China, where we jacked ours up to 125 and then they jacked theirs up on us to 125 for all goods, is now going to 10%.
Like fuckery with those watches. Like I brought my watch, I have a Rolex that my friend Lorenzo gave me, and I brought it to the watch store, and I said, this thing's always fast. I said, it's always like after a couple months, it's like 5 minutes fast. And they go, yep. They go, yeah.
Really?
It's just what it does.
Okay.
And I go, hold on. I go, so you're telling me that it just is always going to be fast? It's like, yeah. It's just like every few months you got to like reset it.
Seems like they should recalibrate that thing.
They can't. They tried. They say every few months, whether it's 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, it's going to be a couple minutes fast.
Okay, it seems like they should really recalibrate that, because if it's always fast, you could just delete those minutes.
You need to fucking kick down the door at Rolex and go, you bitches are lazy.
Instagram Reels showing massive flagship stores with racks that look picked clean. One clip from Dubai Mall showed a single pair of shoes on an entire display wall and no one around to buy them. Employees are visibly tense. They've mastered the art of smiling while dodging questions.
U.S. said the reductions will last for 90 days while the talks continue.
I remember that I was talking to my husband about China and all of the craziness that's going on there right now, right? You look at these videos and you just go, how on earth?
So it's higher. We're definitely charging more for Chinese goods to come into this country.
It brought me to an understanding of how delicate freedom is.
Try asking about restocks and you'll get a rehearsed answer. We're currently transitioning seasonal items, or our shipments have been delayed. But press a little harder and you'll see the panic in their eyes. Because the truth is, there are no shipments. There is no inventory. This isn't a transition, it's a retail freeze. And it's not just Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Dior, Gucci. Everyone's showing signs of the same strange illness. On Bond Street in London, multiple luxury storefronts had their doors open, but barely anything inside. In Paris, reports say the Champs-Elysees looked like a parade of empty designer shells.
And I just said, how is this possible? How is it possible? Where they don't know what they're fighting for. This is how it's always been.
It's like it had to happen. The markets were just too bad. The bond market in particular.
Most of them are made in China, and most of them are made in our factory. Yeah, I'm telling you. But why these luxury brands never tell you that? Because they are trying to pretend to be products of some sophisticated European countries like Italy or France.
We are going to be successful. In a few weeks, the shop was open. We sell the most expensive products in a country where everybody was going by
In Hong Kong, staff are allegedly keeping doors closed during normal hours to buy time. This isn't about luxury scarcity anymore. This isn't about
a slowdown and a contraction in the global luxury market. About 50 million people either opted out or were forced out of the luxury market over the past 2 years.
I do feel people started to get tired of purchasing products and realized that we just bought too much, and it didn't really make us happy.
curated minimalism or brand mystique. This is collapse, dressed up in linen curtains and soft lighting. The cracks in the foundation are showing, and the silence, it's deafening. But the question is louder than ever. Where is the product?
It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. Put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD.
Have you all seen that TikTok by the Chinese guy exposing how luxury goods are actually made? The only real difference? China ships the products to Europe, slaps on a Made in France or Made in Italy label, and boom, luxury? It's ridiculous.
It didn't start with an explosion. It started with a whisper, a missed truck here, a delayed shipment there. At first, it looked like normal logistics noise. Brands shrugged it off as post-COVID backlog, global port slowdowns, or raw material shortages. But by the second quarter of the year, the tone had shifted, and fast. According to insiders close to the supply chain, the entire global luxury pipeline has stalled. That's not an exaggeration. Reports suggest distribution centers across Europe, the United States, the Middle East, and Asia have effectively gone dark. Some warehouses are allegedly sealed, with unsorted inventory sitting on crates. Others are operating with skeleton crews and no outbound orders. One source claimed a massive Louis Vuitton shipment bound for New York was indefinitely suspended without reason, not rerouted, not delayed, suspended as in off the books. Pallets are allegedly sitting idle in customs, untouched. And when shipments do go out, they're fractional, 10% of what stores were expecting, sometimes less. Luxury truck drivers, who usually guard their routes like Fort Knox, are leaking. They're reporting canceled delivery schedules, quiet route, removals, entire city drops being erased from the system overnight, and they're not being given answers either, just silence. And it's not just the physical inventory. Wholesale partners, retailers who typically resell or showcase LV, Hermes, and others are reporting total radio silence from corporate. No replenishment orders, no answers on new SKUs, just vague promises and unreturned emails. This isn't just a hiccup. This is a global lockup, a delivery blackout, the kind you only see when something is being deliberately withheld or when the system is failing from the inside out. And yet, corporate says nothing. No press release, no acknowledgement, no emergency call with investors. Just influencers pretending everything's normal and staff who have clearly been told to smile through it, but the shelves don't lie. And neither do the spreadsheets. When every flagship location is waiting for inventory that never arrives, and no one at the top will explain why, that's not mismanagement. That's a signal, and the world is watching. If you're waiting for official earnings reports to tell you something's wrong, don't, because it's already here. The collapse isn't theoretical, it's not looming. It's happening right now, in real time. Louis Vuitton's global sales have already started to slide. According to recent data, the brand saw unexpected drops in Q1 performance, with Q2 projections quietly downgraded across multiple continents. Kering, parent company of Gucci and other high-end fashion houses, just reported a brutal double-digit crash in their latest sales figures. Even LVMH, the juggernaut that holds Vuitton, Dior, and more under its belt, is showing cracks in the facade. And if the top dogs are bleeding, you better believe the rest are gasping for air. Retail analysts are warning that foot traffic at luxury hubs, Soho, Beverly Hills, the Marina Bay Sands is falling sharply. Customers aren't showing up, they're not spending. And even if they wanted to, the shelves are bare. There's nothing to buy. Luxury resale platforms, once thriving on the back of scarcity, are now sputtering. Prices are dropping, listings are stalling, and worst of all, collectors are cashing out. Not because they need the money, but because they're losing faith in the brands. If people don't believe in Louis Vuitton anymore, those monogram bags turn into liabilities, not assets. And when luxury becomes a risk, the collapse isn't just financial, it's cultural. This is what it looks like when an empire starts to fall apart in plain sight. We're not talking about a seasonal slump. This isn't the typical summer slowdown or inventory correction. This is a full-on unraveling of the luxury supply chain from top to bottom, from raw materials to flagship storefronts to digital checkouts. Every link in the chain is snapping, and right now the people at the top, they're either scrambling to fix it, or pretending it isn't happening either. Wait, the silence says it all. Megyn Kelly didn't hold back. On her show, she looked straight into the camera and said what industry insiders are too scared to whisper. This isn't a slowdown, it's a lockdown, a luxury lockdown, not a glitch, not a seasonal slump, but A deliberate, coordinated freeze masked as elevated brand positioning. She called it a fashion freeze, and her theory is explosive. According to Kelly, this isn't just brands pulling back, this is pressure. From where? She doesn't name names, but she paints a picture of an invisible grip tightening around the throat of the luxury sector. Economic retaliation, strategic overreach, a high-level push to reset global spending priorities. Whatever it is, it's happening across borders, across supply chains, and across price points. Kelly argues that this lockdown is humbling the very giants that once dictated global style. And here's the twist. She says the brands aren't even in full control. According to her, forces beyond fashion are pulling the strings. The luxury titans, Hermes, LVMH, Richemont, aren't the puppet masters anymore. They're the puppets. And the most chilling part? This might be intentional. A reset not just of inventory, but of influence. Luxury's ability to dominate the culture, inflate value perception, and drive artificial scarcity may have triggered a backlash so big, even billionaires can't manage it. If Kelly's right, we're not just watching a fashion story, we're watching an empire being disciplined in real time. The question isn't if luxury rebounds, it's who's allowed to let it rebound. While luxury store shelves go bare in plain sight, the real panic is happening behind locked gates, in the factories. Across Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and Southeast Asia, production has reportedly slowed to a crawl, and in many cases, it's stopped entirely. These aren't mass production sweatshops. We're talking about artisan workshops that have crafted Hermes Birkins, Louis Vuitton trunks, and Dior haute couture pieces for decades. Tanners, stitchers, hardware specialists. For years, these facilities were protected by ironclad NDAs and premium contracts. Now, those same contracts are being temporarily suspended. That's corporate code for, we're bleeding cash and we can't pay you. One tannery in northern Italy, responsible for providing high-grade leather to several luxury brands, allegedly hasn't received a raw hide shipment in over 60 days. An anonymous employee posted, "We've been silent out of fear, but the truth is we haven't had work since early spring." Another artisan house that handled limited edition LV embossing claimed they were told to stand by until further notice. That was months ago. No call ever came. Factories in France that once held 18-month backlogs for Hermes orders now sit completely idle. Hundreds of employees furloughed. Master craftsmen, the kind you can't replace overnight, are being let go. And here's the brutal irony. These were the same factories that fueled the illusion of scarcity, that built the myth of one-of-a-kind craftsmanship. Now they're becoming the reality of silence. No tools, no materials, no orders. And if the foundation has cracked this badly at the source, then it's only a matter of time before the luxury brand facades, built on years of marketing and inflated mystique, begin to collapse too. For decades, luxury brands sold us the ultimate fantasy, scarcity, that you weren't just buying a bag, you were buying the privilege of waiting for one. Limited releases, wait lists, invitation-only showrooms. It worked. It built empires, but now that strategy is biting back hard, because once you strip away the mystique, customers start seeing the truth. These brands aren't rare because they're sacred. They're rare because the shelves are literally empty. And once that line blurs, luxury becomes confusion, not aspiration. Shoppers are waking up. The questions are growing louder, more skeptical. Why would anyone pay $10,000 for a handbag that they can't even locate in store or online? Why would you drop 5 figures on a label that hasn't restocked in months and refuses to say when it will? What happens if the company folds and no one services your piece? What if resale collapses? That's not a luxury product. That's a high-risk investment with no upside. And here's the worst part. Customers don't feel elite anymore. They feel abandoned, tricked, locked out of a club they were told they belonged to. They didn't sign up for ghost bags and disappearing merchandise. They signed up for prestige. Now they're left with stress. This isn't scarcity anymore. It's starvation, market starvation. And shoppers, they're done playing along. They don't wait, they walk. Luxury isn't just a retail game, it's a market machine. And behind every Birkin and Speedy bag, there are billions of dollars in shareholder expectations. But now, those expectations are disintegrating. Wall Street is watching the meltdown in real time, and what they're seeing has them rattled. Shares of LVMH, Richemont, and Kering are taking subtle but consistent hits. It's not a crash, not yet, but it's a slow drip, the kind of erosion that signals insiders are losing faith. Analysts are quietly walking back their 2025 earnings forecasts. Growth targets are being rewritten. Temporary turbulence is being swapped for phrases like systemic uncertainty. And behind the scenes, chaos. Investor briefings are being shortened or outright canceled. Major brands are ghosting scheduled media calls. Q&A segments with executives are mysteriously disappearing. No one wants to go on record, and PR teams, they're scrambling to reframe the panic as brand evolution or strategic repositioning. But let's be honest, no one's buying it. Not the markets, not the press, and definitely not the consumer. Luxury built itself on confidence, on the illusion that these companies are immune to the volatility of the outside world. But now that illusion is cracking, and when investors sense fear, confidence goes up in flames. And when confidence burns out, sell-offs aren't just possible, they're inevitable. The question on every trader's mind right now isn't whether LVMH can recover, it's whether they'll survive the storm with their brand credibility intact. Because if the shelves are empty, the factories are dark, and the customers are fleeing, what exactly is left for shareholders to believe in? So here we are. Flagship stores empty, production halted, deliveries frozen, investors rattled, consumers ghosting, and Megyn Kelly says this is just the beginning. Some believe this is a full-blown reset, that brands will pivot, ditch full grain. Leather for canvas, cut SKUs, and double down on digital. Others say it's the death of luxury as we know it, that the old world of 15K handbags and boutique champagne service is over. Either way, one thing is clear, the Hermes and Louis Vuitton we knew in 2020, gone. What comes next may carry the same logo, but the soul? That might be lost forever. What started as whispers about empty stores has turned into a thunderclap across the global fashion map. This isn't just a production issue or a delayed shipment, it's an identity crisis, and luxury brands are struggling to answer the one question every customer is now asking. What exactly are we buying into anymore? If Megyn Kelly is right, and this is a power shift, not a mistake, then luxury isn't collapsing, it's being rewritten, and those who don't pivot fast, they'll be buried beneath their own empty shelves.